From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada will enter into formal discussions with the United States in January to review their free trade agreement. The Prime Minister's office issued the update late Thursday, saying Internal Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc will meet with American counterparts to discuss the Canada-United States-Mexico trade deal. The news coming hours after Carney met with provincial leaders, updating them on trade talks with the U.S., saying certain trade irritants flagged by the Americans, like Canadian policies on dairy products, alcohol, and digital services, were elements of a much bigger discussion about continental trade. Every time you bring items back to a store, retailers are paying the price, but Elisa Swern, PwC, Canada's National Consumer Markets Leader, says they're unlikely to stop accepting returns.
If retailers decided that they didn't want to have returns, I think that would be a pretty big and tough journey for them to convince consumers that made sense.
Well, they're not going to be getting rid of returns. Some retailers are offering shorter windows for people to bring things back or charging an extra fee. Winter's icy cold and snowy presence will persist across much of the prairies and other parts of Canada today. Environment Canada says an Alberta clipper is expected to dump upwards of 15 centimeters of snow across the southern parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Now in Alberta, southeast of Edmonton, locals can expect morning commutes there to be treacherous as blowing snow blankets the region, reducing visibility. Winter storm warnings have also been issued across north-central Ontario and into Quebec, where meteorologists are expecting between 30 to 50 centimeters of the white stuff. A judge has granted an Alberta government appeal to lift an injunction on a law preventing youth from accessing gender-affirming care. Advocacy groups Egal and Skipping Stone launched a challenge earlier this year over the law which prohibits doctors from prescribing puberty blockers and hormone therapy to those under the age of 16. The government has said the gender health care law is necessary to protect youth from making potentially life-altering medical decisions that they may later regret. A spokesperson says the government is pleased the injunction has been removed, while the groups say they plan to apply for another based on criminal law. And finally, James Cameron traces the roots of his blockbuster sci-fi franchise not to Hollywood, but to the small Ontario village that he grew up in. The famed filmmaker was in Toronto this week to promote his new film, Avatar: Fire and Ash, which hits theaters worldwide today. Cameron says the franchise was shaped by his early experiences wandering the woods of the community of Chippewa just outside Niagara Falls.
I spent all my free time out there. I was either inside the house drawing and painting, or I was out in the woods collecting and just observing and just being.
Cameron says the third film in the franchise is more emotionally complex than its predecessors and pushes the characters into darker territory. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, starting off in the NHL, Rasmus Andersson assisted on 3 goals for the Calgary Flames in a 4-2 victory over the visiting Seattle Kraken. Connor McDavid scored on his shorthanded breakaway and set up Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' power play score, helping the Edmonton Oilers beat the Boston Bruins 3-1. Linus Ullmark's 24-save outing gave him his first shutout of the season in a 4-0 victory for the Ottawa Senators over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Meanwhile, Logan Thompson earned his second shutout of the season as the Washington Capitals beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-0 as well. Zach Bolduc scored twice and Lane Hudson produced 3 assists as the Montreal Canadiens defeated the Chicago Blackhawks 4-1. And finally over to the NBA, where Brandon Ingram scored 29 points, Scotty Barnes added 24, and the Toronto Raptors beat the slumping Milwaukee Bucks 111-105. The Raptors now have back-to-back road victories, bouncing back from a 4-game skid. They won 106-96 at Miami on Monday night. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.